I was really pleased.
Todd Monken walked up to the podium and said the quiet part out loud, saying something the Cleveland Browns front office prayed would stay behind closed doors. Shedeur Sanders threw an interception that set the internet on fire, yet his head coach publicly defended him on camera before the entire national media. That is not routine coach talk. That is an undeniable signal of where this locker room is actually heading. Deshaun Watson was supposed to be the undisputed leader of this franchise, but the rotation just flipped. The rookie is taking the first-team reps against Buffalo, and the narrative mainstream sports television built is crumbling in real time. Before we break down the private conversations shaking this organization, I need your honest take right now. Drop the word SHEDEUR down in the comments if you believe the rookie has already won this job. Or drop the word Watson if you think the front office will protect their massive investment no matter what. Let us see who truly understands where this quarterback battle stands. Stay locked in, because the details Monkin dropped at that microphone are about to change everything you thought you knew about this season.
I wanted to see if he was enjoying himself. Was this still fun for him to play?
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
When Todd Monken stepped behind that podium after the Chicago preseason game, the entire room expected a scripted, diplomatic post-game cleanup. The Cleveland Browns had just turned the football over 3 times in an exhibition matchup. Their rookie quarterback had thrown an interception that immediately went viral across social media, and the noise surrounding the building was reaching a fever pitch. In standard NFL public relations protocol, a coach in that position offers vague generalities about cleaning up sloppy mistakes, protecting the football, and getting back to work on the practice field. Instead, Monken looked directly into the cameras and delivered a statement that sent immediate shockwaves through the entire front office. He stated clearly that he was really pleased with their quarterback play. That single sentence broke every traditional rule of public relations for an organization desperately trying to maintain the illusion of an open, contested quarterback competition. The mainstream sports networks ran wild with headlines focusing on the rookie turnover, but they deliberately ignored the tactical context Monken laid out for anyone actually listening. Monken did not brush past the interception. He broke down the exact schematic design of the play for everyone in the room. It was a dagger concept featuring a clear-out route designed to stretch the coverage and create a clean window over the middle. Shedeur Sanders identified the coverage pre-snap, worked through his progression without hesitation, and delivered the football to the exact spot the scheme demanded. The throw sailed slightly, resulting in an interception, but the mental processing and decision-making were flawless. In the evaluation rooms where professional football games are truly won and lost, physical execution on a wet August night can easily be corrected, but natural processing speed and pocket courage cannot be manufactured. Monken publicly confirmed that the rookie quarterback possesses a mind that operates at genuine NFL game speed. If you are the kind of football fan who values deep schematic truth over superficial media narratives, you need to be locked into Gridiron ground. True football minds join this channel because they recognize that the real game is being played behind closed doors. And staying subscribed to Gridiron Ground guarantees you never fall behind on what is actually happening inside these franchises. What made that post-game press conference even more revealing was Monken's candid admission regarding the game plan itself. The Browns did not scheme for Chicago. They did not install specialized protections or design unique counters to exploit defensive weaknesses. Monken admitted they ran basic, simplified concepts designed exclusively to see how comfortable the quarterbacks felt operating in the pocket. Operating without a customized game plan is notoriously difficult for any passer, let alone a rookie thrust into live action without first-half rhythm. Yet Sanders stepped onto the field and commanded the huddle instantly. The coaching staff specifically wanted to observe his emotional composure through the inevitable ups and downs of a live game, and his response to that sailed pass answered every question they had. Instead of retreating into a shell, Sanders stayed aggressive, converted crucial third downs, and demanded the football in short yardage situations. Behind the scenes, reports claim the front office was hoping for a much more cautious, guarded tone at the microphone. When an organization commits historic amounts of guaranteed capital to a veteran quarterback, having your offensive play caller publicly defend and praise the rookie creates an immediate corporate headache. Monkin's refusal to scapegoat Sanders sent an unmistakable message directly to the executive suites. On-field performance is going to dictate this offense, not contract size. With the regular season opener in Jacksonville creeping closer on the calendar, the coaching staff knows there is no time left for political diplomacy. But as dramatic as Monkin's public defense of Sanders was, the announcement he made just moments later regarding the Buffalo game plan was the true seismic shift that permanently altered this quarterback battle. The exact second Todd Monken announced the quarterback rotation for the upcoming game against the Buffalo Bills, the carefully curated media narrative of an even quarterback competition completely collapsed. Monkin stood at that microphone and stated plainly that Shedeur Sanders will start against Buffalo, Deshaun Watson will enter the game in the third quarter, and Dillon will finish out the fourth quarter. In the National Football League, preseason depth chart rotations do not flip by coincidence. In the opening exhibition matchup, Watson took the field for the first half to establish veteran stability, while Sanders was held on the sideline until the second half. Flipping that structure entirely so that the rookie runs out with the starting offensive unit against a premier AFC defense is a calculated, undeniable promotion. Starting against the Buffalo Bills is not a meaningless August assignment. Buffalo does not offer generic defensive looks, regardless of the preseason setting. Their defensive front is disciplined. Their linebackers diagnose intermediate route combinations instantly, and their secondary aggressively punishes any quarterback who hesitates in the pocket. Inserting Sanders into the opening lineup against that caliber of opponent proves, beyond any doubt.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
That the coaching staff is preparing him for live regular season action. They are no longer testing whether he can function as a reliable backup. They are actively handing him the first-team offense to see if he can run the full system against starting NFL talent. Relegating a highly compensated veteran to third-quarter duty against backup defenders is the universal protocol for a player sliding down the depth chart, not an entrenched starter preparing for Week 1. Mainstream media outlets have tried to downplay this development by highlighting Monkin's diplomatic remark that the competition remains pretty even. But actions on the practice field and the structural reality of the game rotation tell a completely different story. Coaches use neutral language at podiums to manage locker room chemistry and protect front office relationships, but they construct depth charts based entirely on what the game tape reveals. Moving Sanders to the front of the line indicates that the coaching staff has seen a clear separation in execution during team periods. They need to evaluate Sanders working with the starting offensive line, building timing with the primary wide receivers, and making pre-snap protection adjustments against an aggressive opposing pass rush. Speculation from league insiders indicates that veteran players across the offense have already felt the shift in momentum. Sanders brings a decisive tempo to the line of scrimmage, releasing the ball on schedule and allowing playmakers to create yards after the catch. Watson, by contrast, has looked hesitant, frequently holding onto the football and struggling to find consistent rhythm within the structure of the play. By giving Sanders the start against Buffalo, Monkin is giving the entire offense the opportunity to rally around the quarterback, who provides the highest operational ceiling. The coaching staff is systematically paving the way for a transition, And the stark contrast in how they evaluate the two quarterbacks makes the eventual outcome impossible to ignore. The specific words a coaching staff chooses when standing behind a microphone reveal far more than any box score or stat sheet ever could. When Todd Monken stood at that podium and broke down the performance of Shedeur Sanders, his analysis was purely technical, deeply detailed, and centered on operational execution. He did not talk about feelings or intangible optimism. He talked about specific plays, pointing out the crisp opening completion, the difficult third down conversion, the mechanics of the dagger concept, and the exact route depth of the crossing pattern. Monkin even went out of his way to highlight a short yardage situation where Sanders executed a physical quarterback sneak, sharing with reporters that Sanders looked him in the eye and boldly told him that he is a powerful guy who can easily get those tough yards. That is the precise language an offensive coordinator uses when describing a true field general, someone who commands the huddle, embraces physical contact, and possesses the mental capacity to execute complex concepts under live fire. Now look at the stunning contrast in how Monkin described Deshaun Watson in that exact same press conference. When reporters asked about the highly paid veteran, Monkin shifted away from tactical breakdown and retreated into emotional encouragement. He described Watson's time on the field as awesome and so cool to watch, repeatedly emphasizing how much credit Watson deserved simply for working hard to come back from injury. He talked about Watson having fun, getting some easy completions, and getting his feet wet with a stripped-down, simplified game plan. Think about that contrast for a moment. Sanders was evaluated like a franchise quarterback being held to the standard of high-level execution, while Watson was spoken about like a fragile rehab project whose confidence needed to be carefully preserved. When you follow football at this level, you understand that mainstream sports media will never give you this kind of raw, unfiltered breakdown. That is exactly why you need to subscribe to Gridiron Ground right now. When you subscribe to Gridiron Ground, you are not just watching another sports video. You are joining an elite community of real football minds who see through the public relations spin and understand the strategic moves shaping the entire league. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an inside angle that the mainstream broadcasts refuse to cover. An elite offensive coordinator does not describe their franchise starter as someone who merely needs to get their feet wet with simple throws. In the modern National Football League, that is protective code for a quarterback whose processing speed and pocket awareness are currently compromising the offense. Monkin understands better than anyone that modern defenses will disguise coverages, bring exotic pressures, and force a quarterback to make full field reads in under 3 seconds. If an offense has to be stripped down to elementary concepts just to keep a veteran comfortable, that offense will get completely dismantled against elite defensive competition. The game tape from Chicago proved that the entire rhythm of the offense accelerated the moment Sanders took the field, displaying a level of decisiveness that has been missing from this franchise for years. Reports circulating around the league suggest that the coaching staff has grown increasingly aware of the gap in processing speed between the two quarterbacks during closed practice sessions. While Watson continues to hold the football and search for open receivers, Sanders has consistently demonstrated the ability to throw with anticipation into tight windows. Monkin saw that exact anticipation on the dagger route against Chicago, which is precisely why he publicly cleared the rookie of blame for the interception. The coaching staff is clearly building an internal case based on tape rather than reputation, but their evaluation process is being made far more difficult by a surrounding offensive environment that is currently struggling to function. Evaluating quarterback play during the preseason is difficult under ideal conditions, but the operational environment the Cleveland Browns created against Chicago bordered on complete structural breakdown. 3 turnovers in an exhibition game is an undeniable red flag, but focusing solely on the final turnovers completely ignores the systemic failure happening on almost every preceding down. Todd Monken admitted openly at the podium that the run game was completely non-existent, and he made sure to emphasize a fundamental truth of offensive football. You simply cannot score points if you cannot run the football. The offensive line failed to generate any push at the line of scrimmage, consistently leaving the team in second and third and long situations where the defense could abandon run fits and pin their ears back. Placing any quarterback behind an offensive line that cannot establish the line of scrimmage creates an impossible evaluation standard. When the ground attack is completely neutralized, the entire burden of moving the chains falls squarely on the passing game, allowing opposing defensive coordinators to drop extra defenders into passing lanes and dial up exotic blitz packages. Both Sanders and Watson were forced.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
To operate in obvious passing situations where the defense held every schematic advantage. Monkin acknowledged this structural failure directly, admitting without hesitation that the coaching staff has to call plays better, coach fundamentals better, and put the players in positions where they can actually stack successful plays together instead of constantly recovering from negative yardage. The evaluation process was compromised even further by bizarre, manufactured coaching decisions that bear no resemblance to real football. Monkin admitted at the microphone that he called a late timeout specifically to manufacture a 2-minute drill scenario for Deshaun Watson, a move he explicitly stated he would never make in an actual regular season game. When a coaching staff begins manufacturing artificial game situations, rather than allowing the natural flow of the game to dictate strategy, it creates a distorted environment that prevents an accurate assessment of either player. The quarterbacks are placed into unrealistic conditions, making it almost impossible for casual observers to separate individual quarterback errors from total organizational mismanagement. To make matters worse, the defensive side of the ball suffered significant setbacks that put even more pressure on the offensive unit. 2 additional cornerbacks went down with injuries during the Chicago game, further depleting a secondary that is already dangerously thin. While Monkin offered the standard next man up response that every coach relies on during training camp, the reality is that a depleted secondary completely changes the game script for the entire team. If the defense cannot reliably get off the field on third downs, the offense is forced into high-scoring shootouts where every single drive carries massive pressure. In that kind of high-stakes environment, an offense cannot survive with a tentative passer who needs simple reads and careful management. They need a dynamic distributor who can elevate the personnel around him. But while the on-field environment remains chaotic, the real battle is taking place in the executive offices, where team decision-makers are desperately trying to delay the inevitable. The internal power struggle taking place behind closed doors in Cleveland goes far beyond a simple disagreement over depth chart rankings. Todd Monken is not making these decisions in a vacuum, and during his post-game media session, he intentionally dropped a crucial detail when he mentioned offensive coordinator Joe Brady by name. Monken confirmed that he and Brady are actively collaborating every day on how to structure practice repetitions, divide first-team snaps, and install the offensive scheme leading into the Buffalo game. That partnership between Monken and Brady represents a united front of modern offensive minds who know exactly what it takes to survive in today's National Football League. Both coaches understand that their professional reputations, their career trajectories, and their job security are tied directly to the performance of this offense. Neither coach has any desire to tie his professional future to a quarterback who cannot consistently operate the full playbook under real game pressure. However, that coaching philosophy crashes directly into an executive front office that is desperate to protect its own past decisions. The decision-makers who orchestrated that unprecedented, fully guaranteed contract for Deshaun Watson, have an overwhelming financial and reputational interest in keeping him on the field. To admit that a rookie drafted in the middle rounds gives the franchise a superior chance to win football games is an organizational admission of failure at the highest executive level. It exposes years of miscalculated resource allocation, forfeited draft capital, and corporate mismanagement. For months, the front office has attempted to manufacture a narrative that this competition is completely neck and neck, hoping against hope that the veteran would show enough flashes during training camp to give them public relations cover to name him the starter. What makes this situation even more frustrating is how passively the mainstream media has handled the entire storyline. When Monkin stood at that podium and used the phrase "pretty even" to describe where the competition stands, the reporters in the room simply nodded, wrote down the quote, and moved right along to the next topic. Not a single person in that press room pushed back and asked the obvious question. If the competition is truly even, why did the coaching staff just strip the veteran of his starting role against Buffalo and hand the first-team reps over to the rookie? The lack of scrutiny from mainstream outlets reveals just how complicit the media landscape is in helping organizations protect their preferred narratives. The establishment wants the situation to remain ambiguous for as long as possible, delaying the inevitable public reckoning and keeping the fan base emotionally invested in a fabricated comeback story. Speculation across the league indicates that Monkin and Brady are intentionally using live game tape to dismantle that front office narrative piece by piece. By starting Shedeur Sanders against Buffalo's elite, starting caliber defense, the coaching staff is removing every possible excuse. If Sanders steps onto that field with the starting offensive line and moves the football effectively against one of the most disciplined defenses in football, the front office will have nowhere left to hide. The film will speak.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Speak for itself, stripping away the public relations talking points and forcing ownership to confront reality. But while the coaches and executives continue to fight their private battle for control of this roster, the true cost of this corporate hesitation is falling entirely on the shoulders of the rookie quarterback. What Shedeur Sanders is currently being asked to endure inside this organization should infuriate anyone who appreciates genuine competitive integrity. Consider the exact circumstances he walked into during that game against Chicago. Sanders did not play a single snap in the first half. He stood on the sideline for 2 full quarters, watching an offense struggle through simplified plays before being thrown into the second half completely cold. In football, stepping onto the field without the momentum or rhythm of the opening drives is notoriously difficult for even 10-year veterans. You have to adjust your eyes to game speed instantly, feel the pocket collapse in real time, and establish communication with an offensive line that has already been struggling for 2 full quarters. Despite those brutal operational conditions, Sanders made an immediate impact from his very first snap. He walked into the huddle, took control, delivered an accurate strike to move the chains, and converted a high-pressure 3rd down. Later on that same drive, he executed a physical quarterback sneak, lowering his shoulder to secure a fresh set of downs and demonstrating the exact type of physical toughness that inspires an entire offensive unit. Yet, the moment a single throw sailed on a dagger concept on a wet night, the national sports landscape exploded with exaggerated criticism, attempting to frame one mechanical error as proof that the rookie was overwhelmed. That reaction highlights the exhausting double standard that has defined this entire quarterback evaluation. Compare the treatment Sanders received to the endless excuses made for Deshaun Watson. Watson was handed a custom-tailored, simplified game plan designed specifically to keep him comfortable with easy throws. Yet his modest, uneventful performance was celebrated by team spokespeople as an awesome step forward simply because he avoided a catastrophic turnover. Think about how absurd that dynamic really is. A veteran quarterback carrying an unprecedented financial commitment is treated like a fragile rookie who needs to be handled with extreme care, while an actual rookie is expected to operate with flawless perfection on cold legs behind a compromised backup offensive line. That is an impossible standard, designed to give the front office an excuse to justify holding the young player back. Fortunately for the locker room, Todd Monken saw through the superficial headlines immediately. He stood at the podium and made sure everyone understood that Sanders made the right read, saw the correct coverage window, and processed the play exactly the way the scheme was designed. Monkin specifically praised Sanders for his ability to have fun, stay confident, and compete through the inevitable adversity of a live football game. Sanders possesses the rare mental toughness required to block out national media bias, ignore corporate politics, and earn the respect of his teammates one snap at a time. He is actively overcoming an organizational double standard, and the upcoming test against Buffalo is about to trigger a chain reaction that will redefine the future of this entire franchise. We do not deal in vague possibilities or safe television talking points around here. We deal in documented facts, tactical evidence, and concrete predictions that you can hold us accountable for as this season unfolds. Here are 5 definitive, high-stakes predictions for how this Cleveland Browns quarterback saga is going to play out over the coming weeks and months. Prediction number 1. Todd Monken will officially name Shedeur Sanders the starting quarterback for the regular season opener in Jacksonville before the final preseason game concludes. The rotation flip against Buffalo is not a temporary experiment or a motivational trick. It is the final operational phase of preparing the rookie to take over the offense. Monken has already dropped clear hints about the season being a marathon that begins in Jacksonville, and his public exoneration.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Of Sanders proved where his true loyalty lies. If this coaching staff attempts to backtrack and name Watson the starter despite what the game tape shows, Monken will face a credibility crisis inside his own locker room before Week 1 even kicks off. If you are the type of fan who values high-stakes accountability and demands bold, fearless football coverage without corporate censorship, you need to subscribe to Gridiron Ground right now. When you join Gridiron Ground, you are aligning yourself with an elite circle of viewers who see the truth long before the national media catches on. Hit that subscribe button right now and secure your spot on the ground floor of real football analysis. Prediction number 2. Shedeur Sanders will deliver a standout performance against the Buffalo Bills that completely destroys any remaining public debate. Playing with the first-team offensive line and throwing to starting receivers against Buffalo's elite defensive unit will allow Sanders to showcase his complete skill set. Expect him to push the ball downfield with anticipation, execute Monken's full offensive system, and prove that his mental processing speed against premier competition is ready for live regular season action. That performance will leave the front office with zero logical justification to keep him on the bench. Prediction number 3. The Cleveland Browns front office will face an unprecedented public relations disaster the exact moment the starting decision is finalized. The national media will demand immediate answers regarding how an unprecedented, fully guaranteed veteran contract ended up on the bench behind a rookie. The executives who structured that historic deal will be forced to answer for years of mismanaged resources, and the organizational fallout will dominate sports headlines across the country for weeks. Prediction number 4. Major national sports insiders will break reports within the next 2 weeks confirming that the coaching staff privately decided on Sanders far earlier than the public timeline suggests. The reporting will expose that closed-door film sessions and practice evaluations consistently showed a massive operational gap between the two quarterbacks, revealing the public competition narrative as nothing more than a calculated delay tactic designed to protect executive pride. Prediction number 5. The Cleveland Browns will navigate the 2025 regular season, with Sanders firmly establishing himself as a genuine franchise quarterback for the next decade. But the team will ultimately fall short of a postseason berth due to severe roster breakdowns along the offensive line and in the secondary. Sanders will finish his rookie campaign as the undisputed long-term answer in Cleveland, while the front office prepares for major structural changes. Save these 5 predictions right now, because the ripple effect of this quarterback transition is already spreading across the entire American Football Conference. The impending transition to Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland is far more than a localized quarterback controversy. It is a seismic event that is actively forcing opposing defensive coordinators across the AFC to overhaul their game plans. Rival coaching staffs throughout the division, particularly in Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati, have spent the past several years preparing for a predictable, limited Cleveland passing attack that struggled to generate explosive plays. The prospect of facing a young, poised quarterback who processes defensive coverages instantly, throws with pinpoint anticipation, and refuses to panic under pressure fundamentally changes the competitive balance of the division. Opposing defensive minds are breaking down the Chicago tape right now, recognizing that Sanders introduces a dynamic passing element that makes Cleveland significantly more dangerous in third-and-long situations. Reports circulating among league insiders suggest that defensive coaches around the AFC were secretly hoping Cleveland would stick with Deshaun Watson to open the regular season. Watson's recent film revealed a quarterback who held onto the football far too long, hesitated to throw into tight passing windows, and struggled with pocket awareness, making him far easier to scheme against on passing downs. Sanders represents an entirely different level of schematic threat. He delivers the ball on schedule, demonstrates exceptional poise against blitz packages, and carries the natural competitive swagger required to elevate the 10 players around him. When an offensive coordinator finds a quarterback who can execute his full vision without training wheels, the entire tactical identity of a franchise transforms overnight. The moment Sanders stepped onto that field against Chicago and demanded the ball on a crucial quarterback sneak, telling Monkin directly that he had the power to get the first down, the psychological balance of power inside that locker room shifted permanently. NFL veterans on both sides of the ball recognize genuine leadership instantly. They want a battle for a quarterback who embraces physical contact, takes complete accountability for mistakes, and commands the huddle with undeniable confidence. Sanders has demonstrated in a few short weeks that he possesses the rare mental makeup of a true leader, winning over seasoned teammates who have grown exhausted by years of offensive excuses and blown opportunities. Todd Monken understands that an NFL head coach only receives a brief window to establish a winning culture and prove his system can dominate at the highest level. Tying a promising offense to a struggling veteran purely out of financial obligation is the fastest way to lose the locker room and derail a coaching career. By prioritizing on-field performance over executive politics and naming Sanders the starter against Buffalo, Monkin is making a bold, definitive choice to build a sustainable future grounded in meritocracy and execution. The establishment media may continue to push a fabricated, neck-and-neck narrative, but the momentum behind the rookie is now completely unstoppable. Sanders is walking onto the field against Buffalo with the complete confidence of his coaching staff, and the rest of the National Football League is officially on notice. What we are witnessing in Cleveland is nothing short of a defining crossroads for a franchise that has spent decades searching for legitimate quarterback leadership. Todd Monken did not step to that podium to play corporate politics. He spoke as an offensive coach ready to win football games strictly on merit, publicly backing Shedeur Sanders and officially handing him the first-team reps against the Buffalo Bills. The dynamic inside that building has shifted permanently. The days of protecting massive, fully guaranteed contracts at the expense of on-field execution are officially over. Sanders walked into a high-pressure preseason environment, overcame adversity with supreme poise, and proved that his football mind operates at the exact level required to run an elite modern offense. Starting against a first-class Buffalo defense will be the ultimate trial by fire, but the coaching staff has already placed their full trust in his hands. Now the real question falls directly on the front office executives. Will ownership respect the clear choice made by their coaching staff on the field, or will they attempt to force their financial investment back under center before Week 1 in Jacksonville? Drop your final verdict in the comments right now, and tell me if Shedeur Sanders is already the undisputed starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to stay ahead of every major NFL development, and turn on notifications so you never miss our complete breakdown after the Buffalo game.
Shedeur will start against the Bills. Deshaun will play in the third quarter and Dylan play in the fourth.